Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Let's have one more minute. Let's wait for one more minute so that we let people settle in. For those who are just joining, see, I've seen one person joining now. Give a person one more minute. So, just want to double check with everyone. Can everyone hear me clearly? If you guys can hear me clearly in the chat, please type 1. Let me see whether anyone can hear me. Good afternoon. Wonderful. Everyone can hear me clearly. Fantastic. You have 2 more people that just entered the room. Welcome, Alia. Welcome, Parvina. I hope I got your name correct. If I did not. So for those who just joined, we are just doing a quick sound check. If you have just joined, let me know whether you can hear me clearly. Just type the number 1. It will do. Right. So I'm assuming that everyone can hear me. So now, thank you everyone for joining this webinar. This webinar is actually very, very important for those who are looking to upskill themselves, to upgrade their careers. So with me, I have Mr. Ganesh, who's our Deputy CTO for UniPin. So without much delay, right, I would like to check. Ganesh, are you ready to take this?
Yes.
All right. So please give a big round of applause for Mr. Ganesh for taking this particular IT in business, real skills for real impact talk.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. Okay, so if you want, I suggest to enlarge the slide portion. So you have a middle divider. You can sort of use the middle divider and scroll to the right where you have the image appearing. You'll see a bigger screen. Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Ganesh, and I serve as the Deputy Chief Technology Officer at UniPin, where I oversee technology operations. At UniPin, we are a global company with presence in more than 20 countries, both directly and through partners, providing, facilitating entertainment, gaming, and payment solutions for merchants, partners, and end customers. So I'm truly honored to be here today to share my thoughts on the topic that continues to evolve and reshape our world, the role of IT in business. Some background of myself. I've been in the industry for more than 25 years, across diverse roles in various capacities, end user, in vendor environment, in education, and also in consulting. The cross-functional journey I hope to bring to the table today will give me a unique perspective on how technology operates to not just support, but drive innovation, agility, and growth. So in our session today, I want to walk you through how IT has moved beyond the role of a support function to become a strategic enabler, impacting customer experience, operational efficiency, data-driven decision-making, and competitive advantage. So whether you are a student entering the workforce or professionals navigating digital transformation, understanding the role of IT is more crucial than ever today. So let's dive into how business can leverage IT to not just keep up, but lead in this digital era. So in addition to our topic today, I'll also spend some time to get you career ready as you start your career journey, as you sustain yourself in the chosen path, and how do you excel in that. Let me move on to the next slide. So my session today will be broken into 2 parts, right? So first, we will spend some time to understand how organizations operate in a dynamic landscape, examining the makeup of organizations and the strategic drivers. We will also explore examine how people operate in the organization, and accordingly, how IT serves as an enabler. Part 2 will focus purely on providing guidance as you begin your career journey. So it's focusing on graduates, and for newcomers, what employees are looking for, what the job expects, how do you get noticed, how do you get shortlisted, how to prepare for an interview, and hopefully secure a job. And if you're already on a job, basically we're looking at what's next. How do you stand out? How do organizations appraise individuals? All right, how do you get promoted? What qualities you're looking for? Yeah. So let's unbox all these insights and dive into part one. So before we begin, as mentioned earlier, it is important for us to understand the makeup of an organization, right? As they strive to survive in the operating environment. You'll also see why an organization behaves in a certain way and thereby expect that of you. All right, so let's talk about business. So it is clear organizations today operate in one or multiple industries. Most large enterprises must adopt a global mindset to survive and ensure long-term sustainability. They need to pursue rapid expansion strategy, right? Given that they operate in a hyper-competitive markets, serving both local and international market. Their strategies or marketing strategies must go beyond the traditional brick and mortar norms to embrace online channels and reach out geographical boundaries. However, to stay relevant and survive, organizations must learn to differentiate themselves. Right? They need to have a unique value proposition. They need to have a niche, focus on something they're good at, and that will provide them competitive advantage. Right? The reality is that we live in a perfect society, a perfect knowledge society, where customers and partners know everything, demand value, whether it's best price, whether it's trust, brand reputation, service, and so forth. Right? Just like you guys as well, when you want to buy a product, you basically scan the marketplace, you find the best value in terms of the best price, the best quality before making that purchase decision. And then after purchasing, you would then rate the seller, you rate the merchant, you rate the quality, you rate the product, and so forth. So a new buyer in the market would also have visibility of all this information. So that's the definition of perfect knowledge. Everybody knows everything, nowhere to hide. Yeah. So this organization today must specialize on certain capabilities and strength to build a reputation of reliability in the product or service they render, right? And to achieve this, they cannot be doing everything on their own. They must learn to collaborate with others in the ecosystem to ensure that they establish the value. So you notice that these traits also mirrors the organization's expectation on you. You need to be able to differentiate yourself. You need to be able to form a niche. You need to have good technical knowledge. You need to have good market knowledge, business knowledge. So just having technical knowledge isn't sufficient. Yeah? You need to be able to specialize on certain strengths or capabilities, and you need to collaborate with others. This focus is further cascaded down when you look at an organization from an inside-out viewpoint. Here, organizations need to be more market-driven. The traditional norms, right, what you typically see in an organization, internal structure, do not apply anymore. They need to operate efficiently as accountability that they need to promote across the life cycle. So next, let's review this internal organization structure to support this new norm. So this internal structure, so organizations are made out of hierarchies and departments, right? So if you look at it, at the bottom, you start as a member when you join an organization, then you try to get yourself promoted to become a team leader. And if you can scale further, you go into middle management and ultimately the executives, right? Departments, on the other hand, here they have clear objectives, right? They serve in a customer-supplier relationship. For example, if we take the sales team here, and they would rely on the IT department as a supplier to provide system access, to provide technology support. They will rely on the marketing department as another supplier to support sales by creating brand awareness presence. And also they will rely on the customer service department to serve the customers brought in by the sales team. Alright, similarly, IT will rely on R&D to bring about innovation, HR to provide the necessary technical skills to support their operations, and we have got finance to allow them to invest on technology. So in essence, departments need to work with one another each with a customer-supplier relationship as they bring in value to this engagement. Okay? Yeah, so what's next, right? So an organization, right, without direction. So next we look at where the organization is heading. An organization without direction is like a traveler traveling without a map or a compass. They keep going in circles with no end in the journey, right? Each organization must have a strategic direction. It begins with a clear vision, right? And they need to have a set of strategies to achieve this vision, a set of objectives to define the way forward, a set of critical success factors to focus on priority areas, a set of KPIs that defines and measures success, finally a set of activities to drive results. Yeah. So, and if you look at all these, basically what we're doing, we're translating the vision into strategies and strategy into a plan so that we can execute this from an end-to-end perspective. So in today's era, organizations need to adopt a new age mindset. They need to support digital transformation. They need to be scalable. They need to be agile. They need to be adaptive, value-driven, and operate efficiently. Yeah, here we look at this matrix at the bottom here. An organization need to have a solid business plan, a business model. They need to be able to be prepared to reboot, because innovation sometimes is based on trial and error. In their quest to explore new approaches of doing things, or bring about innovations or improve customer service, right? So usually you may need to restart. Even in your career, you would have taken a certain part, and later on you may need to restart. There's some relearning that you need to do, some unlearning, some relearning that you need to do to actually extend. So organization needs to operate the same way. And hopefully you don't bleed too much. That means you don't go in too deep and then you do a restart, right? So organizations need to reboot as necessary. They need to listen to their customer. They need to be able to watch their competitors, even the smaller ones, right? The lightweight ones, because they are able to rapidly innovate compared to the larger organizations because they have got excess baggage, right? So in the middle, so you have all these other attributes that need to work together to support a digital transformation initiative. And in the middle, what you see is three pillars, right? The people, the process, and the technology that must collaborate seamlessly, right? So when you say collaborate seamlessly, what does it mean, right? The people aspect need to, they require insight. In line with digital transformation initiative, they have insight and organization alignment. The process aspect need to be enabled to support complex integration within and outside the organization. They need to be able to support mobility, work from home principles, collaboration framework, even beyond the traditional boundaries in geographical location. And technology, of course, to provide tools to empower strength, collaborations, and better improve the way we do things. Right? So in essence, organizations need a new age mindset towards digital transformation, right? And this is so that it's crucial for them to innovate and reimagine success. Yeah.
I kind of understand this, but maybe in UniPin specifically, how does it relate?
So let me get into that. I'll complete this slide first. So we talked about needing to have survival instinct, right? Embracing new age mindset. So what does it mean? All right, organizations also need to be able to align themselves with emerging trends, right? They need to invest on aspects of cloud computing, big data. We need to go to cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, IT service management, blockchain, IoT, and so on and so forth. Yeah? Using big data, they basically and AI, they will basically try to predict customers' behavior or even their changing behavior, so the organization can realign their strategies to meet these new changes. IoT, project management, ITSM to improve customer journey, customer experience, cybersecurity to ensure security and a stable platform, cloud computing, quantum computing to achieve scalability on demand. They need to be able to scale up and scale down based on demand. And the other aspects of environmental, social governance, human-machine collaboration that needs to work hand in hand. And this is where you guys come in to support, right? To connect the dots, to solve a particular problem or improve the way we do things. So generally, how technology plays a role, technology drives enablement for businesses to address business complexities. Yeah. So just now, the point that raised by Nicholas, right? How does an organization achieve this? Well, let's take a specific context. We have gone very macro. Let's go to a micro perspective. But before we go into that, let me explain using UniPin as an operating model. We look at the customer journey first. So typically, as I mentioned earlier, UniPin is an entertainment, gaming, and payment solution company. A customer accesses the platform through game publishers, the payment channels, affiliates, and so forth. And they select the game of choice or product of choice. And once they selected and pushed it into a shopping cart, then they will pick a payment option. So we are integrated to some 300 payment channels in the world. And once the payment is successful, then we deliver the goods to the customer. Right? Simple enough, right? Actually, it's not, right? There's a host of different components that need to work together to fulfill this objective. Let's look at the technical architecture. So we've got the customer here who is accessing the various and
can anyone hear this? I can't seem to hear Ganesh speaking for a while.
Can you hear me? Okay. Good now? All good? Okay, great. So we've got customers accessing the various channels. And once they access the various channels, then we've got our firewall, we've got our fraud prevention tool, we've got our web utility tools, and we have all our APIs ready with our game publishers, with payment channels, with sellers, and so forth. And this is all integrated to an enterprise integration architecture or enterprise bus, right? So then we have all our application stack on microservice. We have our legacy platform. We have got third-party tools that we use to integrate for our digital marketing effort, CRM. We've got our servers, we've got our cloud environment, we've got our payment engine here that processes all the customer payments, as you've seen. We've got our database and data warehouse, business intelligence, analytics platform. And we've got a bunch of processes here, right, that basically establishes how we do things, right? And on top here, you also have security operations center. We've got our quality control, project management, and R&D activities. So all these complexities need to come in and play a role, right? But how do we achieve this? Basically, we talked about the technology stack, as you see here. So this is basically our technology stack. We've got processes that tells us how we do things. And this is where you guys come in to provide the know-how or understanding on how to implement this, right? So how do we enable this? So UniPin, this is the typical UniPin structure, right? So we've got a leadership team, we've got our IT support team, which also looks at physical infrastructure, physical security. We've got product operations team, which looks at product configuration, payment configuration. Our analytics team, adopting machine learning and analytics. We got our special projects, high value engagement, process compliance. We got fraud team, information security, and so forth. We got our project operations team. We got the PMO office. We got the BA, quality change and release teams. We've got our technical delivery team. These are our developers, front end, back end, our DevOps team, infrastructure and cloud, data management, cybersecurity, and then we've got our R&D team that focuses on research and development, user experience, analytics, and customer intelligence. So the degree of complexity is further added on because UniPin doesn't operate in one country, it operates in multiple countries. All right, we operate in Malaysia, for example, Indonesia, India, Turkey, and others. Some functions are centralized, some functions are decentralized, some are localized depending on the market needs and regulatory requirements. So people need to work with each other across geographical boundaries, across different time zones, to ensure that the operations run smoothly, right? So for example, we take an incident. For example, we operate out of India as well. So we have a customer fraud incident that occurred and it is being handled by a customer service team in India, right? This gets escalated to a Malaysian fraud specialist team and then supported by an investigation team in Indonesia. So everybody needs to play ball to turn around because fraud is something that you cannot wait You cannot say, okay, I'll wake up tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock and start working on it, because you need to intercept right away. So we've got to talk to the cybersecurity team, we've got to talk about transaction services team, a lot of different people working together to achieve a common objective, and they need to do it quickly before the fraud becomes a bigger challenge. So, but the reality is that what you've seen just now, you've seen our system architecture, you've seen our organization chart, right, differs between companies. Right, so as individuals, right, you need to learn and adapt to this culture, the uniqueness that we need. I'm using the 7S McKinsey here. So you notice every organization has got a different structure, they've got different strategy, they've got a different system, they've got different skill set requirements, they've got different staffing requirements, the different style of engaging. All of this collaborate together, comes up with a shared value. So something unique for each organization, and you will need to learn and adapt. Right? The concept, the slides earlier was basically showing you a concept that is applicable to in UniPin. All right?
I think Billy is asking question. How does the R&D side of things get their work results into the operation side of things?
Sorry, how does?
Of things get their work into the operation side of things. To summarize it, how does R&D from concept to go into to the operation side?
Yeah, so R&D basically they will have a few pillars. You would have identified a few areas. For example, we look at customer intelligence, customer buying behavior, moving towards microservice enablement. We need to make sure that our infrastructure from a physical server we're moving to a cloud environment, right? So basically, the R&D team will basically look at some of this innovation. So in a new scheme of things, we are trying to interconnect our components as opposed to being tightly coupled to each other. Each component are now working independently, so it reduces the risk of downtime. If something goes down, it brings the entire thing down. So basically what we've done, we decouple the dependencies so that when we run operations, the part that is faulty is only isolated to that part, right? So it doesn't affect the rest of the business. So R&D basically comes in. So we have got a few pillars that we focus on, either improving the customer journey, either understanding the customer better, aligning ourselves with the latest technological tools, adoption of newer methods of doing things to improve the way we do things. Right. So in essence, from that we will bring it into a DevOps environment where we will test some of these concepts and ultimately deploy it into live environment. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Aidan, for asking these questions. Right? Does UniPin have any plans to hire cybersecurity interns other than GRC?
Of course. Right, so we're always looking out. So we need to pen test. For example, from a cybersecurity angle, it is not just about testing for security. Right, we get on average, we get hacked every day. Every day there's a new threat. There's new people trying to do different things to attack our system. So we are constantly looking for cybersecurity specialists. Our cybersecurity team is based out of Indonesia, but we have a fraud team in Malaysia that needs to work hand in hand to actually resolve issues. We're also licensed with the central bank. So we need to make sure that our systems are all tested for security threats once a year. And I've explained just now, we have got 300 payment channels that we need to integrate with. So you will get the hands-on experience working in this area. So the short answer is yes, we are looking to hire cybersecurity individuals to actually, so we have a plan in motion, and based on when you come in and we have a schedule, what needs to be tested when, you also get to experience real situations and how do we contain that. And in cybersecurity instance, we're also collaborating with a third party that provides 24/7 support that also extends our cybersecurity support to service. As I said, we need to be operating 24/7. We cannot work 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 to meet a certain requirement. So answer is yes, we are looking for cybersecurity individuals as well.
So summary, we observe the makeup of the organization. we explore the organizational structure. We acknowledge that organizations need to have some direction. We need to align themselves with the latest technological trends. We also dived into UniPin's system architecture. We reviewed the IT organization, IT architecture, and structural differs between organizations. So all of this will say that us, in terms of the fresh grads, etc., needs to be able to adapt to these technological changes. How does all of this then, since our audience is graduates, right? How does this apply to our graduates?
Question. So let's move on to part 2 then. We look at the job realities for graduates and IT professionals, right? So when I look at candidates, whether you're applying for software engineering work, DevOps, network security, cyber security infrastructure, you want to go into development work, front end, back end, data science, process governance, compliance, right? I look at candidates in 4 dimensions, right? So what are these 4 dimensions? Right? So firstly, you look at technical skills. For most of you, when you graduate, you have something or the other, right? Unfortunately, it is often misaligned with what the company's tools they use. The tools or knowledge that you've acquired is very specific to a particular tool that you may have experience using. But there's often misalignment with the company's tools and you need to adapt. It has to be relevant to the company's preference. So this is where I talk about technical skill. I put a question mark here. You have it, but you need to adapt. The second aspect is looking at industry experience. You all have read about how companies operate. You may have some theoretical background about how companies operate. It can be too generic, may not be fit for purpose. So I put across there. The third aspect is business understanding. I think as graduates, you want to come in and join as interns, as trainees. There's limited exposure to real world scenarios. So I put across here, you don't have this yet. If you join a company, for some of y'all, it's easy for you to come on board. For the rest of y'all, there's a steep learning curve for you to adapt to the way we do things. So the question always companies ask, I'm hiring you to solve my problem, but we are spending more time training you guys up. So when you join the company, don't be too hung up about the package and the salary and all that. Over time, as you gain the knowledge and experience, you will understand how the technical skills that you acquire is able to plan into the business scenarios, and it becomes easier. And lastly, we look at the soft skills. This is varying. Some people have got good communication skills, some have got good critical thinking, while others take time to actually digest, right? So you need to demonstrate professionalism, attitude, and personality. So that in essence, there is gap between what the companies expect and what they deliver as part of the engagement. As discussed, tools may differ, lack of business context, there's personality mismatch, they pose some challenges. So when you come in on board first time, you may be required to do some adjustments in your expectation to align with the organization's way of doing things. Don't be too fussy about the way things are. You need to understand, as I mentioned, every organization is unique. Accept whatever comes your way. Forget about what you want to do or what you want to focus on. It is probably also too premature because you don't have the experience to contextualize the requirements. Take the time, be open-minded, figure out how business works, focus on how you can apply your knowledge and technical skills, right? And once you have sufficient knowledge and experience, you would understand how everything plays work together, and then you would be able to find the right fit. And I can see a lot of graduates that come in as well. As they get to understand how they apply the technical knowledge to business, they may find that there's other things that may be of interest to them. So the point is that don't prematurely decide what you want to do. Be more excited about getting into an organization, getting an internship opportunity, and learning from that organization. And progressively, you'll be able to figure out how you fit into the entire ecosystem. Okay? So next we talk about talent. I think we know very clearly that there is talent competition for limited jobs. So the next slide is basically focusing on what organizations are looking for, right? How do you get selected, right? So in essence, when I interview candidates, when I identify candidates, I look at communication skills and clarity of thought. This is 5 minutes. 5 minutes in the interview, I will know whether you are worthy to move on to join the company or not. Right? The first 5 minutes, you need to know what you want. You need to know what you're seeking for. All right, the first 5 minutes will tell me this. Then we look at 3 aspects. Subject matter expertise. Most of y'all, if you are fresh, you don't have domain knowledge. You don't have banking experience, oil and gas, gaming, manufacturing. You don't have this. So this is not a priority for fresh graduates. But for senior people who have got 2 or 3 years working experience, we'll expect them to be, when we're hiring candidates, we're looking for people within this industry. All right. Next, we look at technical skills. As I mentioned, everyone that's graduating will have something or the other, whether it's a generic skill of programming, database, front end, back end, analytics, or it could be something on fraud or something on, if you are looking at accounting systems, specific SAP knowledge, troubleshooting knowledge, understanding bots, and so on and so forth, right? So number 2, I cannot assess you for graduates, fresh graduates. Number 3, you have something or the other, all right? So we'll test you on this. Number 4, the most important, I think, is attitude. And it comes to whether you have the drive, self-initiative, self-learning, leadership skill, writing skills, communication skills, quality orientation, solution-driven individual. So for junior candidates, when you come in, I look at number 1, which is communication and clarity of thought, your attitude. And then I look at technical skills, right? Before we go to subject matter expertise. For senior employees or resources, we look at number 1, communication skills, clarity of thought, subject matter expert, technical skills, and then we look at attitude. Yeah. So to me, number 4 is the most important, right? Because you may be very good in your job, technically very strong, but you have an attitude problem. You're not proactive. You're not dependable. You're not reliable. You're always late for meetings. So these traits, basically, I take it as highest priority. You may be an excellent programmer, but because your attitude is bad, right? You're not reliable. You're not dependable. This doesn't play a role at all, right? And this therefore becomes the number 1 priority. It cannot be assessed immediately, but over time, you will be discovered, right? You will be in trouble, right? Now, so we have talked about basically the traits that you have to have as graduates or senior resources joining the organization.
It's question. We actually have a question here from Rizvi, right? So basically what he's asking is that what are the relevant tools we should focus on in order to avoid the misalignment?
There's no tool, right? Basically, the tools that you learn in the universities and college differs. Some of y'all are pro AWS, some of y'all are pro cloud, go into Google Cloud. Some adopt Microsoft, right? And so on and so forth. The tool, it doesn't matter what tool you adopt or you choose. At the end, you need to be able to demonstrate, you're able to apply that knowledge to the problem that we're trying to solve. Right? So don't be too hung up, I must study, I must learn this tool or that tool. All the tools serve the same purpose. But when you come into an organization, you need to adapt to the way of doing things. That is where you are able to demonstrate how flexible you are in the know-how on how to translate whatever you've learned into practical use or implementation.
We established 3 things that are expected from the companies. Number 1, good communication skills. Number 2, subject matter, but not a priority for fresh grads. Number 3, technical skills and a good attitude. So what are the things that we need to remember before we start our career? This is asking from a point of view of a fresh grad.
So when you need to remember, first of all, when you go in, I have another slide. I'll cover this in the next slide. Is that okay? Okay, I have one slide that just covers that. I will address this question, all right? Okay, so as I said, when you start, it's a 2-step process. Step 1, once you understand this, right? The clarity of thought, the communication skills, the need to have subject matter, technical expertise, and attitude. The first step is to gain acceptance, to get into a company, right? And step 2 is, of course, to sustain yourself in the company, to survive in the company, okay? So the starting point, you got an interview. All right, what do you need to do? How do you need to prepare for that interview? All right. So the first thing you got to do, preparation. So many of the candidates I observed, they come into interviews unprepared. They don't understand the company. They don't understand the products. They don't understand the trends, they don't understand about the job itself. They're expecting the company to share this perspective. So always make sure you do some research. All right, understand about the companies, the product, the service offerings, understand their business, their competitors, their market, their customers. All right, number one priority. Understand the job expectation. What are the key values? What are the typical goals? How do you want? Why do you want a job? How can you add value to the organization? All right, related to your projects, related to your experience. All right, so sometimes we don't do this. This research part differentiates you from the other in the market. So when you come into one other aspect that is often seen, people don't do enough research. They just come in for an interview, is the reliance on chatbots. I encourage the use of chatbots. Chatbots have resolved a lot of our business problems if you use it correctly. So while I encourage this, there's constant abuse of use of chat tools, right? Always, all right, when you want to use a chat tool, start with a clear expectation. What you want to achieve, what you want to learn, all right? Instead of relying on the chat AI's response, right, and changing your mind in terms of what you need to do. All right, so this is what we observe, right? People blindly adopt the responses from chat AIs. 80% of the time, I can tell you, even graduates that we have hired, even senior people in the organization, right, the responses from the chat AI is found to be inaccurate 80% of the time. Now, it is not that the generated content is inaccurate, right? But the application of the content to solve that specific business problem, it is not aligned. All right, as I said, you read a little bit of a chat AI, it blurts out a set of information and you feel it's very nice. Take that content and you paste it into your work and you submit. And I can tell you, a lot of the heroes, when they see the response from the chat AI, they forget about the problem statement or the intended solution. They inherit the AI's response blindly as a source of truth, and it's found that 90% of the time, 90% of the time, it's found to be irrelevant. Right? So be careful. I encourage the use of chat AI. That you don't have to research through books and medias and all stuff of Google and so forth. You can refer to this, validate your response, make sure that it's answering the questions that you're asking for. Don't change your question because you're overwhelmed with the response from the chat AI tool or chatbot tool. All right. So if you're a technical individual coming in for a job interview, most organizations will subject you to a technical test. There's a logical test, there's a coding test. If you are coming in for security, you may be subjected to a security test. All right, you want to see your ability to respond to some scenarios posed in the test, right? And basically, they want to see your approach. Why you've chosen a certain solution. So you need to be articulative, not just responding to this. And again, you may use chat AI to resolve. Some of you all may think that it's a simpler choice, just use chat AI to resolve. You can see the theory, you'll be sort of wrong in your response, because the technical test is very specific and every individual will have different answers. So it's the way in which you respond to that question. Then you have the second part, part B, where you need to spend 5 minutes to talk about yourself, your interest, your passion. You've got about 10 minutes to talk about your experience, your skill and knowledge. If you don't have any related real-world example, understand about your projects that you've undertaken and how you can relate to what you've discovered or researched in the organization, right? And the third part here spends about 30 minutes where they start asking you questions about your test, why you approach certain things a certain way, why you've chosen a particular solution, how can you improve it, if you're given more time, what would you have done different, what are the other factors to consider when you're evaluating similar scenarios. If you're a non-technical test, for example, we are going for a BA function, business analyst, or project management function, right? They may ask you questions like, how do you manage difficult teammates? How do you address quality issues during testing, right? How do you respond to issues in handling late deliveries, right? So graduates, generally, you will have a theoretical answer to this. For those who are in the industry, they will have proper answers. How do you mitigate risk when there's a conflict between team members? So you need to be able to survive the first 45 minutes here, all right, where you are being gauged, where we are assessing you. And the second part is where you ask about the company, about the job. Always ask something. You cannot say that, no, I know everything. You need to have some questions. Put the question to the company, about the company and the job. Ask about your KPIs, some outcomes, and ask about the feedback loop. All right, so when will you come back to me if I'm successful? In a tactful way, right? So at least the first 3 questions, we test you. The last 3 questions, your opportunity to ask questions from the company. All right, so what you need to understand, right? Generally, companies, they know what they want. They have gone through many of these cycles. They're seeking for individuals which are insightful and professional, which is able to blend the technical expertise, the soft skills, and cultural fit, how you fit into the organization way of doing things. All right. So again, the second point is provocative and reflective. It is not about what you know, what you can do. It's about how well you do it, what you do fits into what the organization needs. So this is where I'm talking about how your technical skills need to be adapted to the company's way of doing things, right? You need to be part of the solution and not a problem. Another point of accountability and initiative. So when you face challenges, you don't come and seek your supervisor's feedback on how to solve the problem. You need to look at what are the various options available, what would be the possible solution to the problem. So you need to think a little bit further to ascertain, right? What options you're presenting to your supervisor to decide whether which option should be used to solve that problem. And lastly, of course, always look at the big picture. You're doing one part of the puzzle. Look at a big picture view, how organizations look at from their perspective. They're looking at financial gains, they're looking at improving efficiency, reducing costs, they're looking at the big picture items, not just solving a particular specific problem that you are facing. All right?
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to ask a question. So we are clear on the steps we need to go through on the beginning. We need to prepare for the interview. We need to do our homework. We need to understand the company. We need to prepare ourselves to learn about the company, about the role beforehand. We also clarified that company expectations. What are the expectations they have on candidates? Is it possible for you to share? What about the job requirements? Like, for example, what is the expectation for fresh grad coming into a particular role?
Sure. So I think the next few slides will cover this. So if you look at a role or job expectation, right? So as I said, we're talking at stage 1 where you're getting acceptance. So these are different jobs, common jobs that's available in the marketplace. So when we are hiring, for example, for a non-technical job, as I said, companies know what they want, right? All right. That what's behind the job, basically look at technical proficiency, able to manage project, able to generate a project dashboard, use automated tools, technical workflows, and management tools. Have drive, self-initiative, leadership skills, able to solve problems. Project managers generally need to solve business problems, and you're faced with all kinds of challenges from scope, from risk, from timelines, and so forth. You need to solve difficult teammates we talked about just now. Communication skills, you need to be able to work with people at your level. You need to be able to talk to stakeholders, the senior management. You need to be able to write well, present your clear point of view clearly, and you need to have the technical skills from project management. But in specific terms, when I advertise for a job, I'm looking for individuals with cross-functional background, right? Cross-functional knowledge, leadership skills, able to interact or engage with stakeholders, proficiency in using project management tools. You need to be able to engage, or you have handled high-value projects, cross-departmental initiatives. So things that you do in project management is not just in your department, it's not just a software development department. Contain scope, look at milestones, able to coordinate with different team members across the organization, across different geographical areas, track risk, manage stakeholders, prepare reports, present reports to senior management, handle turnkey project. Many people are, what is turnkey, right? So turnkey projects, custom tools, understand ISMS, understand GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, right? We're no more working in silo. We need to understand compliance requirements, regulatory requirements, use automated tools before to solve problems, and be quality oriented, right? So quite a lot, and for each of these topics or each of these items, I will be asking specific questions, especially for senior individuals, right? And then, if you are a senior, go ahead.
Here? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
All good?
Yep.
All right. So you need to also have gaming exposure because we are in the entertainment and gaming market. You need to be familiar with global payment systems. You need to understand ISO 27001. Many of you all don't know this. As I said, you need to do research before you apply for the job. As a project manager, you need to understand Scrum tools, automation, technical workflows, project dashboard, and then I look at behavioral traits. So for seniors, the expectation is much higher. You need to have certain skill set that demonstrate above and beyond what you typically do, right? So when we go into technical job, let's take a front-end developers, you need to demonstrate hands-on experience, responsiveness, UI UX design. You need to work with front-end development tools, Java framework, A/B testing, be analytical. You need to be able to share best practices, secure coding practices, front-end, back-end integration, demonstrate how you have done this, version control, and adoption of cloud tools, whether it's you're dealing with AWS, you're dealing with Google Cloud, using some of these tools to show that you're adaptive to this. And finally, we look at your behavioral traits, quality orientation, attention to detail, timeliness, able to deliver on time, good communication skill, a self-learned person. All right, again, details, someone with a strong portfolio on responsiveness, UI, UX, design knowledge, able to work with a back-end team, analytics, able to maintain front-end application tools. So they go down to the framework level, high fidelity UI UX design into responsiveness, web components, collaboration with various teams, including backend. Be able to look at non-functional aspects of fast-paced response, mobile responsiveness, integration. We look at front-end coding, debugging efforts, and so on and so forth, right? So very specific skill set that's expected. Again, industry-specific knowledge. We are in game top-up business. That's why I'm saying when you go in for interviews, understand the business. Understand what it takes to survive, what it takes for an organization to sustain their job in a particular industry that is being advertised, that is advertised for the job. Familiarity with fraud prevention tool. What are the key success factors that game top-up companies need to consider? For example, if we talk about UniPin, expertise on the technical tool set, including the specific UI UX experience, Figma, Zeppelin, experience on using version control tools. For example, in UniPin, we use Google, so you need to know what's a looker, for example. I'm not expecting you to know everything, but you need to demonstrate the skill set that you have driven towards, you're a quick learner, you're able to pick up this skill set easily because you've got your solid foundation. Behavioral traits, again, design thinkers, timeliness, can-do attitude, self-learner, good communication skill, right? So companies are very specific in the expectations that they have. So as a recap, we talk about the 4 traits: the communication skills, subject matter, technical expertise, and attitude. We talked about how to prepare for a job interview. Do your research. Right? This is the biggest failure. Go into an interview unprepared, right? And finally, you need to understand companies know what they want. They've gone through many candidates. So be very clear with the expectation the company has. Understand how you can benefit the company. All right? Look at the big picture and have solution mindset. Yeah. So we've got the job. Okay, you have successfully cleared your interview. Now you're going on to stage 2, where you've got the job. What happens next? You want to gain a promotion, right? So how do you get into the next step of gaining a promotion? Yeah. The first thing to get into a promotion, you need to first be able to own a skill. You need to become a subject matter expert, right? You need to be able to mentor and work with team members. You need to be respected and demonstrate positive attitude. You are a person, a can-do attitude, a person who's always looking for a solution. Someone is just thinking above and beyond, thinking out of the box for solution, right? And if you look at the chart above here, let me zoom into this a little bit. We look at 100% of members who join an organization, right? 68% of individuals in an organization will meet expectation. 14% will not be able to meet expectation. They need some form of training. And these 2% basically failed in their job, right? So whatever they did, it just didn't work out. So they'll be in trouble. The ones that is basically subject to promotion, right, are this 14% who has built advanced skill. And those superstars, the full stack guys down here. So these 16% are the ones that will go up the corporate ladder, right, from the lower stack to the upper stack. And if you want to go up further, you need to demonstrate that you can drive innovation, you have maturity of thought, you're able to share your point of view. No matter if you disagree with something, you should share it out. Strong leadership skills, you have demonstrated you're able to lead a team, you have ownership, accountability, this is your skill set, behavioral traits, dependable and you're reliable. All right. So generally, if you want to jump up, there's a curve that you need to understand. The 16% basically gets promoted, right? Because we cannot have everybody getting promotion, right? I'm not saying you need to get promoted, right? You can be good at your level and that's also good as well. But the ones that go up to the next level are the ones that demonstrate high leadership qualities. But the reality is, when you want to scale up, there's always competition coming from the previous level. There's always competition at the same level and competition at the next level. So please bear in mind, right? The reality is that there's always competition. We need to work together as a team. But when I want to promote somebody, we need to pick the best of the best, right? And when you want to get promoted, you either displace that person, that means the person resign and you are filling in the shoe, or you create a new need. So in UniPin, we recently, within my unit, I've promoted a project manager who's been with us for 3 years with a data science, data analytics background. And today she's leading data analytics, right? So she's already taken up that role as there. So she has created a new need within the organization. A new need doesn't mean that you have to create something new. You can be a specialist for payment channel integration. You can be a specialist for fraud prevention on certain type of behavior. Specialist for game publishers. So you can build specialized skill in a certain area. So the reality, there's competition, right? And as you can climb up, right, you may also slip and fall. You may lose your edge, may lose focus, or there may be better talents. All right. Again, going down or maintaining at the same level doesn't mean that you have not performed. We look at the bell curve just now, right? The 16% will move forward. You can be good at your level and you continue getting your bonus, your increment, your promotions, and so on within your level. But you don't go up to the next level, right? So the reality is that you can slip and fall as well. There's always competition across. All right. So now we look at specific UniPin behavior. So when we interview, out of 100% that we interview, assuming 10 candidates, we shortlist between 5 to 6 candidates. All right. And we hire 1 to 2 candidates. Right. And the tools, the knowledge that we are seeking for is basically we look for people with good communication skills, clarity of thought, right attitude, resilience, curious, and you have high potential traits. You have got good trait to become a good leader. You are a people person. You're very analytical. You always question the default, so forth. So we're always looking for candidates that's able to go the extra mile, right? And our onboarding process, assuming you cleared the first part, right? You've established communication and clarity of thought. You have demonstrated good technical knowledge. You are able to have good soft skills, able to, effectively demonstrated good attitudes, attributes. We will then put you into a pool, right? So candidates basically fall into a pool. And ultimately, this is where you get ready to demonstrate your capability or interest, right? So when I say that, we have a pre-selection team that will then vet through the candidates, and then there'll be an assignment team that will then put you into the jobs available, right? So important thing to note is timing is everything. You have to be at the right place at the right time to secure a particular job, right? So at UniPin, we have seen graduates adapt and succeed, right, with guidance. But when they come in, initially, you can see the massive, or at times, right, mismatch. They see that, hey, I've never learned this. My whole perspective on the way in which the tool is to be used is changed. All right. So if you look at jobs, their hiring criteria, whether developer, cybersecurity, data analyst, technical support person, quality analyst, and so forth, right? Project managers and so forth. Generally, you look at the asterisks, there are certain jobs that you need to at least commit to full-time 12 weeks engagement. Certain jobs, you can do it over part-time. I recently onboarded two individuals and they were in their final year, and we went to a 2 weeks trial period, and once they found to be a fit, we onboarded them. So here, this is a point where we are engaging students who haven't completed their studying, but they want to get exposure to real life scenarios. But to contribute back to the company, you need to commit at least 16 hours, whether it's weekdays, weekends, it doesn't matter. All right, as long as you're able to commit work or tasks assigned to you, we're good with that. And there are certain jobs that requires full-time engagement. So all these three asterisks, you need to at least commit to 3 weeks engagement. And there are jobs where you don't need to have prerequisite, but you need to have good communication skill. All right, so here we will orientate you on the business. We are going to engage you with the customers, with the partners, with our internal team. You're following up on various aspects. So you need to have some communication skills to actually interact, right? So from UniPin's perspective, there are jobs that you need to at least have 3 weeks of engagement. There are jobs that you need to at least commit to 12 weeks of engagement. There are jobs that you need to commit to 2 days or two days per week engagement, right? Depending on the nature of the job itself, right? So we have gone through many candidates. We've seen that, what we don't want is you come into one particular role, and before you can learn anything or you can contribute back to the organization, you're already done with your internship. It's a bit too late, right? So as I said, we're open. There are different packages for different times of the period of time. So you can come in and explore this. So this we can discuss. There's always available vacancies when you submit your interest to participate in the internship program. Our team will be able to assess and come back to you whether there's vacancies available. Of course, we do advertise in advance jobs that we are currently seeking for, right? Like recently, I think we advertised for developers, front end, back end, in the portal. So in summary, as a recap, right, we are looking for leaders, someone who has got a bigger mind in place, someone who has got synergy between value growth and innovation, and a team player, right? Basic attribute. A person with a can-do attitude, not just from waiting for instructions and doing the work, but from planning to execution, right? From the planning of the artifacts or the task assigned to him to the execution of it. Someone who's able to think out of the box, and someone who go the extra mile. Tell me more than what I've given you. So whether you're joining the workforce or you're growing within the workforce, you need to be able to show your capability that you understand the company's interests, you're able to share your point of view, be solution driven, and you need to also have confidence, be quality oriented, be a champion, build a capability that you're good at, right, to survive in that organization. These are the qualities that we look for when we onboard candidates in the organization, right? So I'm coming to my final 2 slides.
It's a fantastic question. Muhammad Zarif asked, do fresh graduates today have less critical thinking skills because they rely too much on AI chatbot? Question.
The answer is no, right? So they're the same. The AI tool, in the past, we would have used Google and we would have used other market research data. We'd have spent more time doing your research, AI has just basically collated all your questions into one list, and you can even validate the response. So the answer is no. The AI tool doesn't make you less smarter than the older graduates. The question is, how do you use this knowledge and apply it to the context of the problem you're solving? All right. So it is not so much about knowledge, right? Knowledge is unlimited. So the AI tool, the Google platform, whatever tools you use to do your market research, it's there. But how do you apply it to the context? So the problem we're facing is that the incorrect application of AI knowledge or the Google knowledge into the problem that you're trying to solve. Overdoing it because you are too excited with AI's response. So you tend to oversell yourself. So that is the biggest challenge. Okay? So two things. As I said, I think it's answering that question as well. You need to know what you're solving, what you're passionate about solving. All right? You need to know about how you differentiate yourself from other candidates. What is the value differentiator that you have, and how you can add value to you. It's not about your knowledge and you wanting to learn. That is fine. But how can you contribute to the organization? Do your market research. Do your research about the company, about the job, and tell me how you can add value. What are the best practices you've learned that you think you can contribute to the way we do things? All right? Maybe you can give a different perspective. So they're looking for people who are critical in their thinking. So critical thinking is about applying that knowledge to the specific context of the organization. Okay? So as a recap, right? We talked about what drives an organization. All right? We talked about the role of IT in business. We talked about expectation companies have on you. We looked across your career journey and experience. We look at what you need to prepare and how to prepare for jobs. You need to have done your research. And we also looked at onboarding, UniPin's onboarding journey. All right? And certain things we can discover within the first 5 minutes of the interview, and certain things we will be questioning and probing you until we have selected the right candidate for the job. And we also see that 50 to 60% of the candidates, when we advertise for internship, will get the job. All right? And 10% will basically ultimately get hired. All right? So we have looked at all this as key attributes that you need to have when you join a company. So I think that I leave the last slide, right? So many of you all want to work in global companies, right? You want to large enterprises. So it doesn't matter whether you work in a large global company or a small local company. When you work in a large company, your focus, the work that they're assigning to you is very specific, where there's so many other people doing different parts. When you work for a smaller company, basically you have many things, you will end up doing many things across the life cycle, all right? Across the learning life cycle, across the development life cycle, you end up touching multiple different things. So I think that the key thing is take ownership wherever you are, develop the skill, start small, but think big. Because your ideas that you've learned, whether it's small company, big companies, can scale globally, all right? Always focus on the solution. Don't be too hung up about the problem. Don't be too fixated about the problem. Look at how you solve that problem. Test yourself, offer options, accept feedback. Right? So remember, always give options to your superiors and let your boss decide what is the best course of action. Don't be sensitive if they rejected your ideas. It's okay. It's a learning experience. Your job is to share your expertise. The responsibility of your bosses, right? They would have seen everything else. They would have selected the options that basically best fit that solution or that problem, right? And they would probably accordingly find the best fit for that, right? Yeah, so thank you, everyone. All the best in your career journey. I open for questions.
Maybe for the fresh grads here, right? Is there any specific onboarding practice at UniPin?
Sorry, I just disconnected the screen. Yeah, specific on.
Yeah, so is there like a specific onboarding practices for at UniPin?
No, so actually there's no specific onboarding practices that we put in place. As I said, there's no cookie cutter solution. The 4 attributes I talked about, We're assessing you on your communication clarity of thought. We're assessing you on your subject matter knowledge and expertise. We're assessing you on your technical skills, and we're assessing you on your skill in terms of your attitude, your personality. All right, so we're assessing this very quickly. And recently I interviewed 14 candidates for a full-time hire. I hired 3. All right, so I'm saying that, and it's not just in Malaysia, right? The competition is in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in Turkey, in India. And different countries have got different strength or capabilities. Certain activities, people like in Indonesia, they've got certain skill set. In India, it's got certain skill set. So we basically localize our expertise across. So for UniPin, the interview session, you go to a technical session with our technical team, you go to a quiz, and ultimately the country managers make a call. They make a decision whether to hire you or not.
I think from a student's point of view, fresh grad, right? So what if they change their mind midway, or they feel like, they join this company, they join this particular role, after a few months they decided that, this may not be for me. What if they change their mind halfway through? Is it normal?
Yeah, it is normal. It is normal, right? So when you come in, you need to, you need to have a checkpoint for yourself as well to reassess your goal. Important thing, speak to your mentor, speak to your supervisor. And again, I also do this when we hire candidates. Sometimes there's no fit in certain role that they feel. I'll try to repurpose them to other jobs that may be open within the organization. Right? So speak to your supervisors, establish your interest, but don't be premature. Don't make a decision upfront. Try it out first. Fail in what you do. Learn from that failure. Only through failure you will learn from that, and then decide on what you want to do, what really you enjoy, upskill in that area of focus, whether it's coding, whether it's design, whether it's analytics, right? And internally, as I mentioned, there are opportunities, transfer opportunities that may be available.
Dennis is asking a very good question here. Good day, Mr. Ganesh. So I have a question regarding about this cybersecurity analyst role. May I know what are the minimum requirement of skills or knowledge to have if we want to apply for internship in UniPin as an intern?
So actually, cybersecurity is not just a technical job. Right? Today, I've onboarded a cybersecurity person from a local university, and again, the first 2 months we basically struggled. Right, he's a scholar student from the university, straight A students and so forth. He struggled. Right now, cybersecurity is not just about solving a security problem that we face or conducting testing. It's about how to solve a problem. So he came in 6 months ago. He struggled. Today he's been made permanent, and the fraud prevention, fraud tool. So he needs to adapt to our tools, what we use. He's also overseeing ISO 27001. All right, so many of you don't know what's ISO 27001 or ISMS. It's an information security standard that he needs to also make sure he creates awareness across the group to make sure that everybody is aware of the security threats out there in the market. So today he's scaling. He's able to do all this. So bottom line, minimum, you need to have your certification, basic certification. You need to have curiosity, solve problems, understand network, understand the security protocol. You need to be hands-on. You can, if it's a cybersecurity job, maybe you can share some of your experiences, projects that you've done in your college, or even if you've done other internships. And basically, you just need to be able to solve. You just need to be able to share some of the practices out there in the market. Do your research before you come in for the job.
Let me ask another question. This one I think is a great question. Someone asked, why do fresh grads fail in their jobs?
Why you fail in your jobs?
Why do they fail?
Yeah, so generally you fail in your job, right? Because of poor communication skills. I've explained this earlier. But communication skill and unable to express your thought, unwilling to assist others. You only focus on what you want to do, right? Or you only focus on the task assigned to you, not working together with the team. or when you only respond when somebody is probing you. Hey, Nick, what's happening with this? How come it's still idle? Oh, I'm waiting for somebody to come and reach out to me and tell me that whether it's good enough. You need to be proactive. Lack of time management, lack of professionalism, not taking initiative, staying passive, just chilling. So UniPin, for example, right, we work from home. Right, across the region, IT strength, we've got about IT and product strength, we've got about 40-50 people, and everybody works from home. So there's a degree of accountability, there's a degree of trust that the person will have to do, because our customers are all around the world. We have customers in the US, in the UK, we have customers in India, in Taiwan, in everywhere, right? We operate in 20 countries. So we don't basically micromanage individuals. When tasks are assigned, we monitor to make sure you need to be proactive to make sure you turn around. So every 2 weeks, we adopt Scrum. There's daily sync up. There's every 2 weeks we sync up to make sure that you complete the task assigned to you. Right? So as long as you are proactive, you do well. So graduates fail because they are passive. They're just waiting for instruction or missing in action.
This one will be something that is quite close to my heart also. I said, if we don't meet all the job requirements, how do we go about this? Let's assume that this particular role requires 10 key points, and I only meet 7.
Agreed. Yeah. So of course, when we start off, we can see even sometimes the tools you learn, the company says, I've got no time to train you guys up. It's too much of hassle. I can get somebody who's learned a particular tool and so forth. I think the important thing, if you don't have the job requirement, is you need to have willingness to learn. You need to demonstrate that you're a fast learner, you're a quick learner. You can cite some of the projects you've done, different tools that you have adopted, how you have innovated in those tools. Create a confidence, good attitude, create a lasting impression. Even if you don't have real working experience, talk about your projects that you've done. How have you differentiated? You made a difference in your project to allow it to stand. So important thing, demonstrate willingness to learn. Focus on the skill and similar experience that you have and try to contextualize it the close you can do to the job that is put out there.
Okay. Now, I'm getting one student asking, he's interested. I think like people like Dennis, right? Cybersecurity role. Where can I apply it? And from a cybersecurity point of view, what are the things that UniPin is looking for?
Yeah, so I covered this earlier. So I think important application, generally it's all about timing, right? So for interns for cybersecurity, we are going to probably launch next month. We'll have some openings coming up next month. It's all about timing. At a given time, we try not to onboard too many interns because then you have too many cooks, you spoil the soup, right? So we try to get a few interns in and we try to train them up so that they can upskill themselves to that job. So for the cybersecurity role, I think it's coming up next month, and it's basically compliance. It's a mixture between compliance. So as I told you, today our cybersecurity person is not just solving a security problem, he's also heading awareness briefing. Every fortnight, there's an awareness briefing that goes out to everyone in UniPin. He prepares the draft and it's telling everybody about what to look out for, what are the common threats that's occurring in the market, how do you ensure physical security, how do you ensure your password prevention methods, what happens if there's you want to whistle blow something. So there are a lot of, it's not just the technical knowledge, it's also the process skill set. So long story short, if you have some knowledge in solving problems, you are eligible to apply for that. I have very little expectation on you to solve to working experience expectation, so I don't see that to be a problem for the cybersecurity role. Just that you need to be open-minded to address what is in demand, what is in need for the company right now.
Good question coming from Reem. All right. So, how do you assess people applying for data science and data analytics role?
Same. So, data science. So, I've recently, a couple of weeks ago, we onboarded 2 data science individuals, final year students. So, the first thing I asked them, because we also onboarded individuals from other universities before, you need to make sure you have the capacity to take on, right? If you have too many projects running, you have a short semester, all right, you're going to struggle, because we're going to give you real problems, and you're going to start relating, hey, well, now I understand, even with my technical skills, I cannot apply to this problem. You need to understand what the company is trying to do, and you may not have the 100% view of the entire thing that we are solving. So today, these two individuals that we have onboarded is trying to predict customers' changing or buying behavior, right, across different countries. So we have rolled out one country, we have modeled one country, so we are rolling out to multiple countries. So then the marketing team can actually identify the customers' buying behavior, what will they buy next, or run campaigns or promotion targeting their specific needs. So for you to join the data science team, generally you need to just have some technical knowledge, you need to be adaptive. During the 2 weeks training program, we will then assess to qualify you to become to join our team. For data science, we have the 16 hours commitment. You join for 2 weeks. If you're good, we onboard you into specific projects, and then we'll take you through that journey. Now it will take you some time, right? Because the problem, you have technical skills, but you don't understand the business, right? You won't know what to look out for. So that is where our experts, our subject matter experts, will advise you on what to look at for. And over time, you'll see, hey, now I understand why I'm doing this. All right. And I can tell you, among graduates, there are also feedback coming back that, I've not learned anything. I mean, whatever I've learned, I cannot apply it. There's no cookie cutter solution, right? You cannot just say that, I've learned data science, so now I can apply it to any business. It is not that way. You start out with our tools, you start out with our problems, and you try to retrofit to fit to what the organization is doing.
All right. Great question coming in as well. While assessing a fresh grad, do you focus on their past experience in the uni / outside the academics? Or do you assess them based on the CGPA and their project contribution?
Yeah, so it's a mixture, right? So the grades, as I said, I hired this individual who's got a top scholar student, good GPA, and so on and so forth, right? Ultimately, grades is not everything. Your attitude, your perseverance. For example, as I mentioned, UniPin, we work from home, right? So one of the feedback we got from the supervisors who were mentoring this data science person is that these students these candidates who joined were very proactive. If they don't know something, they will reach out and ask. If they finish their work, they would reach out and ask, is there anything else that I can do? I can support. All right, so that this attitude of wanting to learn more and wanting to research on themselves play an important role, right? So important thing is that you need to make sure that you have the willingness to adapt into that organization way of doing things.
Question. I guess a lot of people are now curious. If let's say, for example, they apply for the intern role, right? What typically happens after the internship at UniPin?
So after internship, generally there are 2 or 3 things that happen. Right? One is, of course, naturally, if you are good, a full-time job will be offered to you. And then important thing, right, is that you have gained valuable experience, right, that's able to boost your resume. Always ask for a reference letter or referral from your supervisor, right? So it also it reflects on your experience, right? What you like to do and what you didn't like, you can also reflect on that experience as well. Right? Stay connected with your colleagues for future opportunities. So naturally, get a full-time. If you are good, we offer a full-time job. And always ask for a referral letter from your supervisor.
This is a very good question coming in. I'll take another 1 or 2 more questions, right? This question is very important. Are there internship positions available open for internationals as well? I'm assuming this question is coming from an international student.
Yeah, they are, because as I said, we work from home, right? So international, ultimately when you finish, you can go back to your home country and we can continue to service you. So we have operations also in Brazil. We have 2-3 people working in Brazil. We've got different people at different territories. So it's more about your skill set rather than physically where we are located. So as long as international students, the biggest challenge is always language, understanding skills. So if you're able to, even when we try to onboard resources from India, language becomes a challenge, right? So you need to make sure that you're able to converse, because the team that's mentoring you could be from Indonesia, could be from Turkey. So generally, we will have vetted through this before we onboard individuals for interview. It's a pre-qualification activity that we do before we assign you for interviews.
Good. Last question, right? This one also very, very good. I like these questions. How do we stand out? How do they stand out in UniPin or in any tech company? What's the criteria to stand out? Good question, by the way.
The last number 4 item, attitude, proactiveness, leadership skills, going the extra mile, not just waiting for instructions. So we're looking for people who are drivers, so always doing their own research, finding out new ways of doing things, innovating. Right? So we're looking for people who are not just waiting for instructions, we're looking for people to innovate. So in our DevOps team, we onboarded a resource. He's joined the company for about 6 months, probably completed internship for another enterprise. And this person, I get massive kudos from his supervisor, because he's in charge of overseeing the way in which we structure our cloud operations. And he's establishing workarounds, fallback procedures to make sure that there's a proper failover, implementing controls, dashboard monitoring tools to actually monitor consumption, utilization, configuring our DevOps operation to be able to scale down, our production operation to scale down and scale up based on analytics, based on demand pattern. So activities are busy on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then we need to automatically scale down our resources, CPU and memory usage on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, things like that, right? So that whole stack, there's a proper tool that he himself has initiated and currently in use today. So we're looking for people who go the extra mile.
No other questions. Thank you so much. I would like to pass the time over to Tarshan, because there's now a section for Tarshan to appreciate what you have done for us. Thank you so much again, Ganesh. So Tarshan.
Thank you.
Hello, can you hear?
Yep.
Yes, I can hear. Yep.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Ganesh, for giving that wonderful talk just now. It really helped a lot our students in getting more knowledge about the industry, and especially when you share your perspectives on also your experience also in it. So yeah, we really appreciate it. So right now we're just going to be doing the certificate of appreciation ceremony now. So just to show our appreciation to you guys for doing this talk. So yeah. Okay. All right. Anyways, that's all for me. So thank you so much again.
Today's session.
Willie has said something. Please use this link to take your attendance. Help me to mention this. There's a link. Just have. Hey, am I muted? No. So there's a link that Willie just sent inside the group. Yep. Just help him to take the attendance. Thank you, guys. Thank you so
everyone
much for attending, guys. All right. See you guys soon. Bye-bye.
All right.
Thank you, guys.